I'm about to talk to Wilson Wei. He's a 28-year-old Web3 serial entrepreneur who's looking to transform social media as we know it today. In 2020, he sold his first venture and is now disrupting Web3 social with his second venture, CyberConnect. CyberConnect has recently closed its second funding round, raising a total of 25 million. What are some of the most valuable lessons you picked up along the way?
So we make tons of mistakes, obviously. There are a couple like really serious lessons that I would never make the same mistake again. And that would be, value runway, how you pick your investors. Always make sure you have enough cash flow for what you're doing. Do a pretty precise projection of your cash flow. Give yourself a little bit more runway than expected to, probably could save your company, especially like in the environment of like being at a bear market. Um, it's always hard to raise more money, or it's always hard to generate more revenue in this kind of market. And we have been through that in 2018, 2019, and therefore, like for example, like CyberConnect, so far we already raised two rounds, 10 million seed round led by Multicoin Capital. We recently announced another Series A round, 15 million, led by Animoca Brands and Skyline Capital. Get those like high quality backers. It's also one of the most important thing that I learned from my venture, because they're not just representing capital; they're representing all kinds of resources, and their branding as well. You want to make sure that the investors that's on your boat have to be helping you in some way, providing strategic values. And sometimes like new entrepreneurs, they might not aware how important that is. The projects that you're working on is going to be very challenging along the way, and you do need those credible investors to back you up, to provide you different insights. And sometimes entrepreneurs could be wrong, because a lot of time we just focus on what we're building, and sometimes some more strategic investors could provide you with a better overall picture, so that you can make less mistakes. Maybe number three, about like finding like product market fit. What's the most important problem to solve, whether it's the right time to do it or not. Timing is important. Yeah, so if you do something ahead of your time, you're gonna fail, because you're not gonna have enough runway to sustain yourself until the day that the infrastructure is ready, for example.
Okay, taking a step back, with the experience you already have in your pocket, how do you approach funding?
We're talking about like seed round or Series A, because those are the very two different things.
Let's kick it off with the early stages and peel it down from there. So where do you focus on, and what's a common misconception in your view?
Seed round, basically what you need is you need a very clear idea of a potential product market fit, and you need to describe that precisely, making sure you have a hook and describe the picture clearly, and why this market, why the users, why the developers need your product. Most people do it in a deck form, some people do it in a paper format, but it doesn't really matter. What matter is you have to make sure investors get your hook instantly. Like if we're talking about like VCs, they typically look at projects, and their first filter would be like whether this project could help me to make 50x or sometimes 100x plus. Talking to a VC and pitch them a product that has like 5x potential, they might not be interested, to be honest. That's how venture capitalists work. Don't care too much about valuation. That's a very clear suggestion. I think a lot of the time entrepreneurs tend to overemphasize on their valuation. Essentially the value of the company should be priced by the market instead of yourself. The main point here is don't be afraid to lower down your valuation if you feel like you are onboarding better investors.
Taking this all in, so how do you determine how much you want to raise?
And how much you need to raise, it's super important. Like you need to have enough money for you to test out like your product. Like normally when we talk about like how much you raise, it's how much you need. It's based on like your burn rate, and normally you want to raise For seed round, you want to raise enough money for at least like 18 months, or no less than 12 months, obviously. But 18 months plus would be a good amount, so that you are not diluting too much of your share, but still have enough time and money to test out your product and find product market fit.
Okay, so let's say the first seeds have been planted, your product is coming to life. How do you approach a Series A?
And I think a good way to get over from seed to Series A would be like, once you start to get a little bit of traction, you can start approaching some investors for your Series A round. By approaching them, it doesn't mean that you're directly asking them for money, like you're instantly like doing a raise. Like you're just trying to get their feedback on your product, and if they are the user, the target audiences, that would be even better. But listen to their feedback and see how your initial traction is matching towards their expectation. And when the time is right, which means your traction reached to a certain level that you kind of proves that you reached a degree of product market fit, and that would be the time when you want to raise Series A. And Series A, normally it's for you could expand your team, you could expand your product, grow faster. Yeah.
So you've had a good idea, figured out your product and market, additionally the funding you will be looking for, and now it's time to get out there and make this dream a reality. How do you approach investors?
The hardest part is to gain the trust from the initial small group of investors, let's say 2 or 3. But after that, it's like through connection, um, warm intro. Warm intro, it's super important. If you already have a product that's working, I think that would make things easier. A lot of people actually reach out to us. If you have a product, you're gonna have some kind of customer base, and your clients, your customers, your users, some of them could be investors within the space, and that would raise their interest. And a lot of the institution, they do have some kind of like system tracking the market, to see new products, and if your product is live, and have some initial traction, it might get under the radar as well, and they will reach out to you. Assuming if you are very new to this industry, you have no connection, then your only way would probably be cold reach out.
If you enjoyed this, make sure to follow and check out our other video in which Wilson walks us through the next generation of social media.